Hello everybody, Accureye here, and welcome back to another Accureye Talk Sale, and welcome to the very first video in a long series of videos talking about every character and my personal opinion and ultimate guide to every character in the game. Now this is currently every character in the game right now, leading of course into future characters, and of course redos if there's any changes to each character. But in today's video we're going to be talking about one of my least used characters in the game, which is Bloodhound. Now Bloodhound is of course a recon based character or a tracker based character, much like Crypto. But with that being said, let's talk about Bloodhound and his abilities. Of course, as I said before, he is a tracker or a recon character. So, the basic plan, of course, is to go into the game and consider reconning or tracking your enemies, picking off strays. For instance, if you find that there were stray squads in any game, you probably want to track those guys and take them out as quickly as possible, because, let's face it, you as a Bloodhound can track them and you can see their footprints, which means that if you are sneaky enough, you can basically sneak up right behind your enemy and take them out. Now, when I first originally launched this game in particular, I had a blast of a backtrack mic that just was like, oh boy, that was annoying. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about Bloodhound's abilities. And yeah, let's go ahead and start with his passive. His passive is Tracker. So for those of you who don't know, Bloodhound's passive is Tracker. As I said before, he's a recon character. He can see footprints and he can basically find clues left behind by your enemies. So, if your enemies leave behind a footprint, or let's just say they just recently looted a battle, you will basically see that track. You will basically be able to see them immediately on the field. This is a fairly useful ability, especially for when you have a good team that's that needs help finding somebody they were chasing. Because let's face it, sometimes when you find people or you start chasing people, you lose track of them. Let's face it, 9 out of 10 times, since I am a Wraith main, like me, I'm a Wraith main. I literally can lose track of people really, really quickly, really, really easily. So, and that's just like one of the downsides and cons of Wraith, is that, Wraith can't track people immediately. She can't just find people. But, that's why Bloodhound is so useful. Bloodhound is an underused character, of course. But, he's so useful because he can track characters like a dog. Like a dog, once he gets catch a whiff of the trail, he can basically track them to their next point. He can basically see where they're moving and get an idea of where their next point is. Which, is, like I said, very, very useful. Very, very, tactical. Very, 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 very predominant. And for those of you who don't know, I will be leading into a second video, which the second video will talk about all the useful combinations or weapon combos for Bloodhound. But, yeah. Anyway, going back to the beginning, Tracker, as I said, his passive is probably one of the most useful passives in the game, as it can basically track and basically you can see where foes were last spotted, where the last attack or where the last trail was. So yeah, that's his passive, which by far seems to be one of the more useful passives in the game. Talking about weaknesses, before we move on to his next ability, let's talk about weaknesses for Bloodhound. Bloodhound has one huge weakness, and for those of you who have never noticed it, Bloodhound's weakness is his hitbox. His hitbox, the biggest hitbox for him, is in his head. So, if you're aiming for the head, well, let's just hope that you're not gonna... Let's just hope you don't give them a chance to aim for your helmet or your head, because, again, one of Bloodhound's most most overall weak points in the game is his head. You can basically hit him in the head no problem because that's his biggest hitbox. So, I mean, that's one of his biggest cons. But overall, Bloodhound doesn't have too many cons. That's just the biggest cons. Most of the other stuff is very, very advantage for you. So, let's move on to Bloodhound's second ability, which is his tactical ability. His tactical ability is Eye of the Allfather. Eye of the Allfather will briefly reveal your enemy's traps and any clues through all structures in front of you. So it doesn't matter where your enemies hide. If you are Bloodhound and you use your tactical ability, aka Eye of the Allfather, then you are basically going to be able to see them. You basically can make it to where your team can get a plan and get an idea of what they could potentially do to, attack the enemies. Attack the enemies or attack your enemies. So, basically, think about Eye of the Allfather as your basically reveal the location of anybody and any enemies within the area. So, yeah, that's basically what the Eye of the Allfather is. It's a very good tactical ability, especially when you're kind of like, okay, you were near a fight. Let's see if you can see or track anybody nearby because your passive isn't picking up anything. That's basically what Eye of the Allfather is good for. It works well with his with his basic ability, and it works fairly well, in conjunction with his passive. So, yeah, that is basically what his passive allows him to do. It's a very good ability when you lose track of your enemies for a second, or you kind of are like confused on where they went off to. But yeah, with that being said, let's move on to his last ability, and what is ultimately his ultimate. His ultimate is Beast of the Hunt. Beast of the Hunt allows you to transform into the ultimate hunter. It enhances your senses, allowing you to see a cold tracks, and move faster. So basically, Beast of the Hunt is probably by far one of the best abilities for Bloodhound, especially when it comes to you having a team that will follow you basically follow you. Because again, you're basically a dog that is leading your team to your opponents. You basically are leading your team to your opponents. You basically will be able to, find your team and basically hunt them down like it's no tomorrow. Beast on the Hunt is basically probably one of the best, ultimates in the game for sorry about the yawn. But it's probably one of the best ultimates in the game for for players who are looking to to be able to track and move their way across the map, especially when they come into a ring, like a closed off ring, and they have to kind of quickly beat the last opponent. In fact, I find that when it comes down to it, Beast on the Hunt is probably best used in the final battles. In the final battle when it's just like 2-on-1 or 2-on-3 or 3-on-1, Beast on the Hunt I think is probably one of the best moves because not only can you move faster, but in those quick off situations you can at least turn the tide of battle when you need to. But yeah, those are all of his abilities. That's his that's a layout of all of his move sets. So what do I think about Bloodhound? How should you play Bloodhound? Well, Bloodhound is a very tactical based recon character. He's good for recon. He thrives off tactically moving along and being one step ahead of your enemies, or in some cases, right behind your enemies. I mean, he's basically a dog on a leash. On a leash. Your team is the leash, the owner holding the leash, and I think Bloodhound is the dog. Is the dog that hunts them down. So, because Bloodhound is the dog that basically hunts them down and is the dog that is on the leash, I think that, no matter what, sorry about the yawn, but no matter what, if you have a Bloodhound, make sure that you fall close behind Bloodhound, or at least you are able to, to basically, make your way into being that hunter, being the one that basically tracks down everybody. You want to track down everybody. You want to be able to kind of have it to where no matter what happens, you are on the hunt. You are you're right behind your enemy, or you're one step ahead of your enemy. Either way, you're going to have the advantage over everybody else. Everyone else compared to, except for maybe Crypto, can't be one step ahead of your enemies. Crypto is the only other character who really can stay one step ahead of your enemies or be right behind your enemies because, again, Crypto has some abilities that make him almost comparable to Bloodhound. But, of course, like I said, in the end of the day, Bloodhound is the dog, is the tracking dog. And you should utilize that dog track to really make him, really make him the best that he can be. Because without that dog track sensibility, and let's face it, Bloodhounds are not very often seen in Apex Legends. Your team is going in blind on maybe when the next enemy is coming in. When, the next person may be on their way, And because of that, you never know when they're going to, when you're going to run into that situation where everything goes off the rails, if you will. But, yeah. Those are my opinions on Bloodhound. That's my thoughts on Bloodhound. Now, who pairs up well for Bloodhound? Who is good, alongside Bloodhound? Well, I mean, that's up to you in some way. But if you have a pre-made team and you decide I'm going to play Bloodhound, well, here are my suggestions on perfect teammates that work alongside well with Bloodhound. So, let's go ahead and get started with my perfect pairings for Bloodhound. So, if you are a Bloodhound main and you decide to become a Bloodhound main, let's face it, your perfect pairings could be characters like Bloodhound, and then if you're Bloodhound, then, the perfect pairings character-wise for you could be like Crypto and someone like Caustic, for instance. Crypto and Caustic could be a good pairing for you if you are a Bloodhound character. Now, why is this? Why is Bloodhound or Crypto and then Caustic and Crypto a good team pairing? Well, they're a good team pairing because, let's face it, at the end of the day, Caustic can trap players like rats. Caustic can use his gas to trap players. This makes that someone like Crypto or Bloodhound a good pairing because when they're trapped in the gas, Bloodhound can scan the area or maybe even see the trail of where that fallen enemy or that trapped enemy went off to. And then you're probably thinking, why is Crypto a good pairing for Bloodhound? Well, Crypto's a good pairing for Bloodhound because, again, you have dual tracking. So while Crypto can kind of follow your trail and kind of keep eyes on the enemies when you can't keep eyes on the enemies, it basically works hand in hand. It's like two trackers working as one. So it gives you a bit of an unfair advantage for, for players who are like, well, I want to, blah, 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 or whatever. Yeah, So who else is good for Bloodhound? Well, Bloodhound and, of course, Bangalore. Bloodhound and Octane. Bangalore and Octane are two good characters, again, to team up with Bloodhound. Why is this? Because Bangalore can use smoke. This means that if Bloodhound if Bangalore uses your smoke while Bloodhound's rushing in, Bloodhound has an advantage to scan the area and see where the enemies are before maybe even the enemies see where he's coming from. Octane, of course, because Octane can stem boost. A good Octane can basically stem boost, cause aggro on the other team. Bloodhound can come in right behind your enemies and basically take them out. Another good team pairing is Bloodhound and Pathfinder. Bloodhound and of course Mirage. While Mirage can throw out decoys, Bloodhound can basically track behind the enemy while Mirage's decoy takes the lead and gets the shot. This leaves your team very, very open to planning a sneak attack, while Mirage's decoys are basically kind of acting like the dummy, acting like the bomb fodder. Pathfinder, of course, it should be obvious. Pathfinder can take aggro with his hook, or he can use his zip line to basically make it to where Bloodhound just kind of falls right behind in an advantage point. And then, of course, you got Bloodhound, Wraith, and Bloodhound, and then, of course, Lifeline. Bloodhound and Lifeline, or Bloodhound and Wraith, they're also two good characters to work together, because if Bloodhound gets into some trouble and he needs a quick heal, Lifeline can provide that quick heal. If Bloodhound needs an escape plan, Wraith, of course, can provide that portal to be basically an escape plan. And I mean, those are basically, from my point of view, the ultimate versions of each character. Those are the ultimate combinations for all the characters that you will be that you will, of course, be, or you will be, or you could be, of course, utilizing. And with that being said, I mean, thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Part 2 is coming up very soon, everyone. So expect a part 2 soon on all the good weapon combinations for Bloodhound. But with that being said, this is my guide and the start of my series on guides for every character on Apex Legends. And thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, you know what to do. Hit the like button, get subscribed, hit the bell notification, because I know you want to know when my next video drops next. Thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching this video. I am live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/Accureye. I am live on Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday for sure. But lately, I've also been live on Monday and Tuesday. I used to have a schedule via Streamlabs of when I was live for the thing, but it kind of got messed up, so I'm trying to fix it. But usually Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday are 4 to 5 hour streams, and Monday and Tuesday are usually 2 to 3 hour streams. And with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today. Thank you for watching. I hope you join me live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/Accureye. Thank you everybody for joining me today. Thank you for watching. And until the next one, everybody, this is Accureye signing out and saying farewell, everyone.